Hello everybody, so this is a video I've been meaning to do for a while. I'm going to talk about my thoughts about DSP, my honest opinion of him, do I consider myself a detractor, etc. I've talked about this a couple times during videos about him, but I think it deserves its own separate video. So I guess the first question is, do I hate Phil and do I want to see him fail or bad stuff happen to him IRL? No, I really don't. And I've tried to be clear about this in the past. I don't hold any personal malice towards the man. At the end of the day, he's just an asshole on the internet who begs for money. He's not really in a position to do real harm to anyone. He doesn't even really do harm to his fans. If they want to give him money, they can give him money. I think it's a waste of money. I think he's sleazy, but I don't really hold any real malice towards him. There's so many other people in the world who do way sleazier things, who hurt society more. He's just kind of a random asshole. So I don't have any personal animus against him. If you see in my videos where I sometimes will go, he's like the worst person ever, this guy's such a sleazy asshole, I just go over the top. If you've watched me for any amount of time, you'll notice, and it can be kind of subtle, I go into character sometimes, because I try to deliberately keep my voice monotone, so when I say like crazy or over the top stuff, it sounds like I'm being completely serious. And my style of humor is very much inspired by people like the AVGN and Nostalgia Critic and that kind of thing, in which I find disproportionate, excessive anger to be funny, especially over mundane stuff like some random Let's Player. So I play it up a lot because I think it's funnier. I mean, sometimes it's good to do like a balanced analysis, and sometimes it's fun to just rip into something and just be completely hyperbolic and over the top. So I play it up a lot. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be honest about it. Sometimes when I'm attacking a movie, I'll play that up too, etc. I just find it more entertaining and it's funny. So a fair amount of it is me just playing a character. So keep that in mind. So no, I don't have any ill will towards DSP. Actually, I think in every case I've been against screwing with him IRL. If memory serves, every single time someone screwed with him IRL, I've taken his side. Just because I don't think it's justified. Most of the stuff that people do to him, I don't think is justified. Because at the end of the day, like I said, he's just an asshole on the internet who's kind of sleazy. He's not really hurting anybody in any real sense. And I just think people take it way too far if they actually do stuff IRL. And a lot of the times the stuff he does complain about, like YouTube screwing him, is stuff that's happened to all of us. I've been screwed by false copyright claims and people abusing the flagging system. The algorithm has a lot of issues. Like, a lot of the things he's complained about are legitimate complaints. And it is messed up, like I said, if people are trying to ruin his life because there's so many worse people on the internet. There's so many worse people in our society that they could be going after. It's just not worth it, and I don't think it's justified. So why do I cover him? I guess is kind of the issue. If I don't really hate the guy, I think at a very base, to be honest, from practical terms, people like it when I do it. Not just like new people who come in, but my viewers really like it, and I was like, Argent, do more DSP. We love your DSP videos. We want to hear your hot take on this. And I don't know, I think you should listen to your viewers. And if a lot of people are asking for something, I might as well do it, even if it doesn't necessarily jive with the rest of the content I make on the channel. If people want it, I'll do it. It's brought a lot of people in. I know people will say, oh, drama videos just bring in a temporary boost in viewership. But I've had a lot of people say, I found your DSP videos, but I like all the other stuff you do. So there's nothing wrong with doing something popular to try to get attention. If anything, that's just kind of marketing. The issue is I don't make DSP videos every week or necessarily every couple weeks. So I don't know, would you consider me a detractor? I wouldn't really consider myself a detractor because I don't just kind of hate on the guy constantly. I try to be a bit fair sometimes. Also, it's not my focus on my channel. Making fun of DSP is something I do to kind of unwind. but I don't want to make like a depressing political video or a mental health video or just something really serious. It's kind of fun to just laugh at the guy because it's so absurd. Like, A, just how many videos he's put out, B, how long he's been around, C, just the fact that there's this massive community who's like dedicated almost full time in many cases to just fucking with him. And like there's dozens of channels that just post clips about him. There's people like Theo and Kevin who basically do daily streams about DSP. It's really, really interesting. It's kind of something unique. Chris Chan is really the only thing that comes close. And in some ways, DSP is more fascinating than Chris Chan because he has more agency. Like, he's much better at lying. There's always this weird, crazy stuff going on. There were multiple, like, Illuminati-esque groups that were trying to take him down. And stuff like the Fred Fox thing, the couple who catfished him, the whole machinima thing. Like, there's just bizarre, fascinating things that happen on almost a daily basis with this guy. And it's interesting to watch. It's just... it's so strange. It's better than most like entertainment that people could come up with because it's just weirder, and it has the benefit of being real. There is also, I think, an educational aspect to this, and I'll often stop when I'm doing a video and kind of explain why what he's doing is wrong, because DSP just makes a lot of mistakes and a lot of errors that are common to millennials and Gen X and just kind of people in his age group or younger today. And a lot of it, I think, is good learning opportunities, like how devastating professional neatdom can be, not getting out of the house, financial irresponsibility, living above your means, how you treat other people, how you treat your fans, personal hygiene. I think there's just a fascinating array of pathologies this dude has, and you can learn a lot about them. And I think he is kind of a reflection of a lot of the problems that we have with the current couple, younger generations, etc. So I think there's a learning opportunity. I think it's fascinating. I think it's a good way to just get your mind off of like really depressing stuff. Like, instead of talking about the fate of civilizations and that kind of thing, we can just laugh at a guy whose life is just a clusterfuck on the internet. And yeah, it's good to take a break sometimes and just kind of laugh. And it's fascinating. I don't know if there's anything other than maybe Chris Chan that's reached this level of just people gaslighting the guy and just detractor channels. And with regards to like detractor channels, there's kind of a mixture of them. There's channels who I think are just having fun. I'm not going to really name any particular on this side, but who just have fun making fun of him, posting the crazy stuff he says. There's a lot of people, I think, RA logs, particularly Kevin and Theo, who are just obsessed with DSP. And I think he's right Phil's right when he says these people are obsessed with him. Like, they stream daily about him, they talk about him constantly. The majority of their content revolves around him. And it's not just something like Phil Snort Burnell, which is an archive channel largely, that just consists of clips of DSP. But they do live content like for hours a day, just attacking this guy. And it does show that they are obsessed with him, in my opinion. And a lot of the people, like, really, really legitimately hate him and want him to lose his house. And their reasons are bullshit. They're like, oh, Phil's a racist, Phil's sexist, Phil's homophobic. But, like, these people have obviously never really been on the internet if they think Phil is a racist. Phil made some, like, mildly politically incorrect jokes that would have been completely, like, within the realm of normal during the 90s. Like, it's nothing more extreme than something in an Austin Powers movie. People are like, oh, he did that Let's Play where he pretended to be a Nazi. It's like, it was a joke. Does anyone think Phil is actually a Nazi? That he's actually read the tenets of National Socialism and subscribes to it? Or he's involved in some, like, skinhead gang? No, there's zero evidence for that. He just made some, like, kind of lame jokes. Like, the Chinese stuff. Like, who cares? People are just pussies. Like, he made some Ching Chang Chong Charlie Chan. Like, if people legitimately get so offended by that they want the dude to go and live on the street, they have serious issues. As I said, I think a lot of these people are, frankly, sociopaths or sadists who are trying to look for some justification for their behavior. And that's common in a lot of internet communities, be it furries, be it a lot of kind of people in the alt-right or like the actual neo-Nazi community. Not like a majority or even a sizable minority, I'd say, but there are a significant number of people you notice in these online communities who are trying to find a justification for their shitty behavior and their shitty motivations. And if they think Phil is like an offensive, like guy who's so bad, then like I said, they're sheltered. And I got into an argument with some of the SOK people over this, and they were like, no, he's the worst person ever. He should live on the street. He should die of cancer because of the racist things he said. And like, Phil has not said anything really, like I said, that would be out of place on a 90s comedy film. The worst you can say about his politically incorrect jokes is that they aren't funny. That's about it. But like, he hasn't jumped on like 1488. He hasn't jumped on like any of that kind of memes. He's just kind of boring milquetoast. He's just like a boring milquetoast liberal who's kind of a boomer at heart and makes some jokes that just offend people who are frankly massive pussies and can't deal with. Like I said, I don't know if they've just never been on the internet. Like if they think that's extreme, they've like never seen a YouTube video or gone on a forum or seen a meme or anything. So overall, I guess maybe one more thing. Do I feel like I'm bullying him or hurting him? I'm going to say no, because the thing with Phil is pretty much everything I've criticized him for or mocked him for is stuff he put out there. And not just stuff he put out there, but stuff he put out there to beg for money. It's like what I said when he got engaged. I didn't make fun of him for getting engaged. I congratulated him. I said with the girlfriend, I wouldn't have talked about it if he didn't use it to beg for money. Because if you're going to use it to beg for money, and you're going to present it like, oh, if you give me money and Kat comes, then she's going to be in all my videos and you're going to get a meter, etc., then that's a promise. That's a verbal contract, more or less. And if you're not going to deliver on that, then yeah, like we talk about his tax information. If he just said, I have tax problems, like that's one thing. But he begs for money. And he presents basically one side of a business contract. Like donating money is still kind of a business contract in my opinion. And he says, oh, give me money for this and I'll give you this. And he doesn't hold up his end of the bargain. If Phil had just said, Kat, I have a girlfriend, I probably wouldn't have talked about it. But the second he started begging for money to move her there and lying about when he was begging for money, that turned into fair game. Like him breaking up with Leanna, I probably wouldn't have talked about it, but he immediately started dissing her and bringing it up and complaining about her. If he just didn't do that, people wouldn't, like there'd be a lot more sympathy towards him. But to not just publicly put it out there, and that's not even that big a deal, but to use it as a way to beg for money, I think makes it a legitimate point of criticism, a legitimate thing you can make fun of. Anyways, those are my thoughts on Phil. Hope that clarified things. I'll talk to you guys later.